And today the Indiana Arts Commission announced an open call for nominations for the Governor's Arts Award. To find out more, we're joined on the phone now by the IAC's Rex Van Zandt. Rex, who's eligible to be nominated for the Governor's Arts Award?
Well, the eligibility for the Governor's Arts Awards recipient can be an individual, it can be an organization, a city or a community partnership, businesses, any group or individual that has made a significant contribution to the arts in Indiana, brought recognition to the state as well as to themselves as Indiana being an arts-friendly place and a creative place to do work.
I think a lot of people may have trouble quantifying or understanding what a significant contribution, an outstanding contribution might look like. They would look at themselves and say, well, I'm no Josh Bell. How would you encourage people to consider a significant contribution?
We bring together a group of both people from inside state government as well as outside. We try to have a committee that has artists or representatives from arts organizations on our actual nomination review board. And what we try to tell them is, we need to consider not just the ultra-famous and not just the largest organizations that have these huge multi-million-dollar budgets that can afford to do sorts of important things or impressive things, but how is it that it's relative to the community? I mean, that is how a small community like Rising Sun, for example, small population in a very rural part of the state, what they did to earn their award was they used art as sort of an economic development tool. They knew that they couldn't compete with Cincinnati or Indianapolis or Evansville for high-tech business or for, major manufacturing. Where they were, what could they do? And they looked at the arts and they decided we are going to go out and recruit artists and art galleries and arts organizations and businesses to come to us. Now, something like that, it had a huge impact in a very small community. It might not have, quite as large an impact if it had happened here in Indianapolis. Relatively speaking, dollar per dollar and people working at it. Mm-hmm. So, we encourage the committee, as well as people who are looking to make nominations, don't automatically assume that because this person or this organization has had a significant impact in a rural community that they can't be considered or, don't stand a chance of being considered for a Governor's Arts Award.
What makes one of the most effective nominations? Is it an in-depth narrative? Is it the canonical list of accomplishments or effects of this person or this group's efforts? What sets the best nominations in terms of their packet that they submit? What sets them apart?
Well, first of all, we ask through our nomination form that the initial nomination be limited to a single sheet or no more than 2 single sheets of typewritten or computer-generated testimony. Just give us a narrative of why this individual or organization or whatever, why this nominee should be deserving of and considered for a Governor's Arts Awards. On the reverse side, there's a very small form to fill out just giving us information, contact information primarily, about the nominee and then also about the individual who's making the nomination. We specifically ask, don't send us a lot of material, clippings, samples of artwork, things like that. Initially, number one, we don't have the space to store it. And number two, we are very concerned with valuable or one-of-a-kind items coming in and then something happening to them. Now, if the committee decides further down the road that they would like to see a videotape or hear an audio sample or whatever, the committee can always make that request later on. But don't send us a ton of material, but be as clear and concise in your description of why, this individual, why this nominee, is worthy of a Governor's Arts Award.